Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 News at noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and we begin with this. President Trump welcoming Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy to the White House today. This is for talks about ending the war with Russia. Those talks wrapping up just about an hour ago. And right now we are waiting for another set of talks between President Trump and many of Europe's top leaders. We'll bring that to you live when it happens. As for this morning's meeting with Zelenskyy, the two leaders sounded optimistic and really wrapped it up on an optimistic note about ending the violence that Russia began years ago.
This gentleman wants it to end, and Vladimir Putin wants it to end. I think the whole world is tired of it, and we're going to get it ended.
Now, President Trump did meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin, as you heard. He met with him last week and will reportedly be reaching out to talk to him again after today's meeting with Zelenskyy and European leaders. And we do have some pictures coming in from Washington, D.C. European leaders gathering at the White House again today to meet with the president following the Zelenskyy meeting. And once again, we'll take you live to Washington when that conference gets underway. All right, we're going to go ahead and head out there live again to Washington, D.C. This is where President Trump is holding a news conference ahead of his European leader meeting. You can continue to watch the news conference again with the president and the leaders from Europe by watching KREM 2 Plus. We'll also bring you the very latest on KREM 2 News coming up at 4, 5, and 6. All right, we're going to put a pause on the day's news and talk about weather. Taking a look at what's been sort of a cool weekend forecast, but things are beginning to heat back up. Thomas Patrick is joining us now. Thomas, what do you know?
Yeah, it doesn't take much to heat us back up in the summer season, Laura. I'll tell you, I've noticed that so many times this summer. We'll have that 1 or 2 days of it feeling a little cool, a little bit like fall. And then just like that, it is right back into the summer heat. And that is where we find ourselves for this week, weather-wise. Now, this morning we were tracking a few of these showers and storms. They really originated around Grant County. Since then, have slid up into northeastern Washington. But this is about it. Very few scattered showers, but a little rumble of thunder right over Bonners Ferry. This appears to be the last thunderstorm cell for the day. And in the next hour, all these showers are going to move north of the Canadian border. And we'll be left with sky conditions like this, where it is absolutely sunny from my vantage point here in Spokane. And you can tell where that sun has been out all morning long, already in the 80s in our southern areas, 75 currently in Spokane, but still a little cooler to the north. Look at that, 57 currently in Colville since it has been raining in that region. But like I said, it's all about the heat for this week, and I got mid-90s in the forecast. So coming up, I'll show you how quickly these temperatures will rise as we come out of this cool weekend into an absolutely hot one for next weekend.
All right, my friend, thank you. Washington State Governor Gov Ferguson posted a letter that he received from U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi on his social media. The letter alleges that Washington's sanctuary state status is unlawful. One section says, quote, to ensure cooperation, the president has directed the Attorney General of the United States in coordination with the Secretary of Homeland Security to identify sanctuary jurisdictions and notify them of their unlawful sanctuary status and potential violations of federal law, end of quote. In response, the governor said, quote, Washington State has no intention of changing our values in the face of threats from the Trump administration. He also said he'd share more details in a response coming up tomorrow. Over in Idaho, on Friday, Idaho Governor Brad Little signed an executive order he calls the Idaho Act. This act orders all state agencies to cut their general fund by 3% for the fiscal year. K-12 public schools are an exception, though. Now the Idaho Education Association is reacting to this news. The IEA president, Lane McAnally, released a statement saying in part, quote, while the need for these holdbacks could have easily been avoided, IEA members believe Governor Little is right to spare Idaho's public school students and classrooms from even more fiscal austerity while lawmakers write checks to the wealthy. And we do have an update for you on the Central Valley School Board. The school board officially decided to join a class action lawsuit against Washington Superintendent of Public Instruction. This is over its policy on gender inclusivity in schools, which includes sports participation. Currently, Washington state allows students to compete in sports based on the gender that they identify as. But board members say that goes directly against federal rules, and they are worried they'll lose federal funding. So they signed that letter of intent to join a lawsuit. But in a meeting earlier this week, the district president said they're not sure if the lawsuit will happen because not enough schools have joined in at this point. And over the weekend, protesters gathered outside Republican Congressman Michael Bumgardner's fundraising event. It was the Paint It Red fundraiser. And at the event, they also gave out the Eastern Washington Impact Award. Protesters outside were calling attention to many concerns, one of them being Bumgardner's support for federal cuts to Medicaid.
I'm out here because I believe in the power of the American people coming together, making our voices heard, and standing up for our rights and standing up for all people to have access to health care.
Going inside the event, Congressman Bumgardner handed out several people awards. One went to Adams County Sheriff Dale Wagner, who is facing charges right now over immigration enforcement. The Spokane Police Department arrested a Spokane man on multiple charges, including kidnapping. Police first responded to a call Thursday evening. This was near Green Street and Sprague Avenue for someone assaulting a man with a car. They found a man lying in the street with bad injuries, but did not find the person who hit him. Then Friday morning, a woman called Spokane Police because she was concerned that her relative had been kidnapped by the same person accused of assaulting the man on Thursday night. Police say the two victims knew each other and the woman had a protection order against the suspect. So then later, SWAT found both the woman and the suspect in a home on the South Hill and arrested the suspect. The Worley Fire District is asking for the community's help, and they're hosting several fundraisers to build a new fire station. The proposed site of the new fire station in Worley, and it would include an air ambulance landing zone. A fire chief for Worley Fire District says this is so needed in rural areas like Worley. The fire district estimates this project will take close to $600,000 in order to complete. However, he says they've already raised roughly $390,000 this summer. His goal for the new station is to earn the money strictly through fundraisers.
When you raise taxes, everybody feels that. So this is why we're doing fundraisers. We've been doing them throughout the community all summer long.
Again, there will be more fundraisers happening throughout the summer. You can find out more about those. That's posted on our website on KREM.com. The memorial service for Kenneth Salis in the Spokane County Sergeant killed in the line of duty will be happening this week. It will be at the Convention Center on Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It is open to the public, but seating will be limited. If you would like to donate to support the family, we have a link on our website that's posted on KREM.com.